love, life, and lunatics. The pretty lies, the ugly truth, I'm sick with love, life, and lunatics. So crazy but can't get enough of it.
Welcome to Love, Life, and Lunatics, a podcast where I share personal stories about my life, my loves, and some crazy situations that I unfortunately got myself into. Sometimes I'll have a guest who will also share a story or two about a time that changed their life or had a hand in making them who they are today. So, hang out with me for a little while and enjoy Love, Life, and Lunatics. Well, hello, and thank you for joining me in another episode of Love, Life, and Lunatics. So let me see. This is actually my first time in the booth in a few days. I have 6 auditions to get to, voiceover auditions, and I wanted to kind of warm up my voice a little bit with doing the intro to this show. Right now, it's 3:15 a.m., My daughter, Gianna, is sleeping, and I always find that it's nicer to record in my vocal booth at around this time at night or later, simply because it's a little more peaceful. I live next to a freeway, so there's all kinds of trucks and motorcycles and cars, loud cars, that are always going up and down the highway, so it's around this time, it's not so much going on out there. And my daughter is sleeping. She falls asleep a little bit earlier, but she knows if I'm not around. So it takes her a good while to really get in her sleep. When I first put her down, I'm like, okay, let me go and tidy up and do this and do that and whatever. And she's cool. But then around this time, she's really asleep. She's not going to wake up. There's nothing that's going to wake her up. But just in case, I put on she loves to learn, so I made 2 sleep videos for her. One is called Goodnight Alphabet, and the other is called Goodnight Numbers. Goodnight Numbers is a lot longer than Goodnight Alphabet. Hopefully the numbers are in her dream, but I count from 1 to 100, and she can count up to 40. Thank you very much. And I think that has something to do with it. Anyway, this episode is called Fibro blah blah blah. I was sitting at my computer, completing all the details of a book that I wrote for my then 2-year-old daughter, now 3 years old. I was so excited about this book called Gianna's Outer Space Voyage. This would be the first book in an adventure series that I was creating for my daughter. She is very imaginative, and I love making beautiful, fantastical stories to fulfill her wonder and excitement. She's just a wonderful blessing to me, and I want her, as well as other children, to dream big and know that they are special. Anyway, I have worked very hard on Gianna's Adventure series, as well as Gianna's Colorful Adventure series. I needed a fun, creative outlet. I was getting 0 financial help from Gianna's father. I was in physical therapy, trying to heal from a complicated injury, but also preparing for major surgery to correct the problem. I was unable to work. I was stressed out, but I didn't realize how stressed I really was. I was being the best mother I could be, and after I put her to bed, I would write and create. So this particular night, as I was uploading the details of Gianna's book to the internet for all to experience, I began to feel tingles in my arms and legs. I ignored that sensation. Soon after, my lower back began to ache. I kept writing descriptions and uploading the book to different online bookstores. The tingles in my arms and legs began to intensify. The pain in my lower back began to deepen, followed by an overwhelming feeling of fatigue. What was going on? I started to shift to stand up, and I was unable to. I had to force myself to stand up and walk around. Every step hurt. I began to shake just walking around. What was wrong with me? I felt nauseous. Did I eat something that didn't agree with me? Maybe I have food poisoning because I absolutely did not have an appetite. I couldn't be pregnant because you need a man for that. I was thankful that Gianna was sleeping. I needed to figure out what was wrong with me before the morning. I managed to complete the upload of my book and then fell asleep. I slept and slept. When Gianna woke up, I woke up. It was so hard for me, but I got up and made her breakfast. We went through a normal routine, but very slowly. I was so extremely sleepy, but I had just woken up and I had a full night of sleep. I called my sister and she came over and took Gianna on a fun girls' day. It was important for me that Gianna didn't feel like anything was wrong. I finally spoke to my doctor a few days later. I told him my symptoms as well as recent events in my life. He confirmed what I had expected: fibromyalgia. I was familiar with this because as a licensed massage therapist of over 20 years, I have worked on many people who have suffered from fibromyalgia. Some were more severe than others. The people who stayed active through a flare-up heal faster, so that's what I did. My doctor said that I've developed this temporary condition because I was under extreme stress. He suggested that whatever was stressing me out, to try my best to get rid of it or find a way to minimize it. So that's what I did. I continued to make myself move, even though my body ached. I didn't take medication. Instead, I took Alka-Seltzer. Gross. Stretched deeply, sat in my massage chair, wrapped my legs in my leg massagers, drank a lot of water, and got lots of sleep. After about 3 weeks, I returned to normal. I know that this is a condition that can come and go, so I have made a conscious effort to keep my stress levels down. Even if I don't think I'm stressed, I check in with myself. I haven't been a mother long, but I have learned that I will completely forget about what I need or want to take care of my daughter's needs and wants. I now realize I can't do that. I really do need taking care of too. I don't know if that's a regular mom thing to abandon yourself for your kids, but it felt like the normal thing to do. I was wrong. Now I'm so much better. Since I've been taking care of me, it's so much easier to take care of Gianna. She's a happy girl by nature, but when she realizes that I'm happy, she's happier. Fibromyalgia is no joke, but neither am I. I hope I never have to go through that again. It was tough, but if I do have another flare-up, at least I will know how to handle it. Now, let me go stretch and relax. You, listener, you go and stretch and relax too. The best definition of fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a disorder characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain accompanied by fatigue, sleep, and mood swings. Researchers believe that fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations by affecting the way your brain and spinal cord process painful and non-painful signals. Okay, if you were to look up fibromyalgia, there's lots of different definitions of it. It pretty much is widespread pain all over the body. Well, at least what I have: headache, lower back pain, severe fatigue, and loss of appetite. I am absolutely not hungry at all. It's a crazy thing to be in. Now, since I wrote that, I had another bout with fibromyalgia. It was actually a few weeks ago. Mine is most definitely brought on by stress. I wasn't having an argument or a fight or anything like that. As a matter of fact, it was just a conversation, a bit of a disagreement, and it was through text. And it was not long. The person I was talking to, I care about a great deal. So if it had been just anybody else, if it had been someone who wasn't friends or family, I don't know if I would have let that affect me so much. But within, I would say, an hour or two after that conversation, the sensations started to come. And I was like, oh no. I remember being a little bit nervous, but I jumped to it. I went and got the Alka-Seltzer, which is nasty, and I drank a whole lot of water. I took vitamins. I jumped to it. Now, it still happened, but it was nowhere near like the first time. And it didn't last as long as the first time. The first time was about 3 weeks. This time was, I would say, almost a week. So it really wasn't as bad because I made sure that I had put everything together just in case I had to deal with that again. I've worked on so many people within my massage career who's had this problem. I remember there was one woman I worked on. She was, and when I say worked on as a massage therapist, she was such a sweet lady. She was a very, very well-off lady. Like, I would go to her mansion, one of her mansions, and she would always open the door. She would come to the door. Her hair was on top of her head, and she was just very, very sweet. And we'd have great talks. She would explain to me the troubles that she was dealing with while she was dealing with it, exactly what it felt like. And she also explained the frustration that she had when people didn't believe she was in pain. And she was a very much older woman. To me, it seemed like that stressed her out more than anything else, is that people did not believe her, because for such a long time it was called a phantom problem. And when I was working on this woman, it had to be about 15 years ago. It was a very long time ago. Prior to her, I'd worked on a lot of people with fibromyalgia. She was just the most vocal about it. Nothing in the world would have told me that I would have experienced that. I think back then, I cared about the people I worked on, but I had heard so much of troubles and physical ailments and things like that. And when you're in the massage school, you are taught to protect your energy and block certain things. You help people. You help the body heal itself, but you can't get emotionally involved. Otherwise, you can't work well. So I do remember, as much as I loved her, she was so sweet, and I just loved her. She would come to my shows, and she was a great lady. But I did have to separate how I felt about what she was telling me and working on her, trying to just help her body. And I worked on her for about 3 years. The more I worked on her, the more I had to make that boundary clear. Within me, she didn't know that. None of the clients knew that. But you have to kind of expect it. You can't internalize other people's pain, or else you won't be able to finish the day as a massage therapist or any type of caregiver, whatever. You know that if you're going to take care of people, you have to also take care of yourself. And a big way of taking care of yourself is no transference. But from her description of fibromyalgia, that is how I knew that that is what I had. Before I looked it up, before I went to the doctor, I knew this is fibromyalgia, because she was so detailed in telling me about her pain and everything. Mine is triggered by stress. I will say this for anybody who needs to hear it or who might not think they need to hear it. Stress can disable you. Stress can kill you. Stress can hurt you. I'm the type of person for my whole life that's been like, go, go, go. I'm a workaholic, and I am all of those things. But I didn't take care of myself always, because nothing was more important than the project, the work, whatever it was that I was focused on. That was the most important thing. And that's fine. If you can handle that, that's fine. I think when the emotions and stuff come along, if you're feeling that you're being overwhelmed with stress, I'm telling you, please go do some things that will de-stress you. Stress will take you out, or it'll put you in severe depression. And there's so many stresses that we can't control, but we can do things to combat that. Take a nice warm bath if you like warm baths. Listen to some of your favorite songs. I like to listen to songs from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, but primarily from the 90s, and sing them very loud and jump around and dance. That really does de-stress me. I like to dance anyway, but reading a book, writing a book, or writing, you don't have to write a book, but just reading or writing, talking to one of your best friends who makes you laugh all the time, watching funny things. When I was in any of these flare-ups of fibromyalgia, I remember both of them, I started to watch funny people. I watched a lot of Richard Pryor, but not what you would think. I watched a lot of his interviews, talk shows that he was on, especially the ones with Johnny Carson. They were really, really funny. It was just straight off the dome, and he would say things. It was really, really funny to me. I'd watch Paul Mooney. I'd watch, oh my goodness, Mike Epps. I'd watch stand-up comedians or funny movies like I'm Gonna Get You Sucker or Hollywood Shuffle or whatever. And I would watch these movies and laugh out loud. Or I would talk to funny people like Jamie, my sister, is hilarious. And so I would just be on the phone talking to her, and you never know what she's going to say. This girl says all kinds of stuff, and I was just laughing. She knew that I was in a flare-up. So we're not going to talk about the flare-up. We're going to talk about other things and then just laugh like silly girls. So I find that keeping your spirits up in some way or de-stressing, laughter will distress you. If you can find funny things, something funny to laugh at, that will distress you. Just take care of yourself. Stress is what put me in the flare-up of fibromyalgia. I am very clear on that. I think other things can trigger uncomfortableness or sickness in other people, but stress is really the number one thing that will put you in a state of disease. So anyway, I said all that to say, let's just take care of ourselves, okay? Let's take care of ourselves. I like to put people ahead of me a lot. I always do that with Gianna. That's just going to be a thing. But in addition to putting her ahead of me, that's my daughter, I also say, well, I'm going to do some things for myself. During the day, I'm going to work out really, 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 really hard and sing a little bit and do certain things that make my spirit happy and that will carry me throughout the day. I pray. I give thanks to the Lord for everything he's done for me up until this point. Even if I'm not where I want to be in a certain area of my life, I still give thanks and I still have a vision of what I want and where I want to go and how I want my family, and I'm talking about Gianna and I, where I want to see us next year. You know what I'm saying? It's just an idea, and I pray that the Lord will take us where he wants us, but to happiness. So the key is just to take care of yourself, please, please, please. And this is the massage therapist, Jania, talking to you. Massage therapist since 2003. Please take care of yourself. Find a way to do that. Be grateful. Is anybody thankful? Is anybody grateful? Yeah. This is just a reminder to you to take care of you and be blessed and be well. Anyway, thank you for listening to Love, Life, and Lunatics. Please share your thoughts about this podcast. And if you liked it, please like and share. I'd really appreciate it. Please check out my show notes in the description box for more information. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, see ya.
Baby, things ain't always gonna be so bad. We can make it through the hard times. Believe me. Life and lunatics. Life.